While this is a very obscure and unexplored side of Star Wars, today I'll be once again diving into the various creepypastas and dark truths of the mythos, from demonic faces appearing in the background of the pod race to Mark Hamill's horrific face injury, which led to him being replaced by a different actor you've never heard of. Here's Creepypastas in Star Wars Volume 3. Creepy Faces in the Phantom Menace. So for our first one of the day, we'll be looking at this Reddit post from May 5th, 2024, which is titled, "What character race is this, and why does it look so weird?" which shows a picture of the pod race crowd in the Phantom Menace, with a disturbing character being circled with red in the background. The rest of the post reads this.
Rewatching Phantom Menace and noticed a bizarre looking character, even by Star Wars standards, in the background of the pod racing crowd. Anyone know if this character has a name, or even what the character's race is known as? It sort of looks like a pale death clown version of UK's Mr. Bobby.
Since I had no clue who Mr. Bobby is, considering I'm not from the UK, turns out it's this guy right here, whose real name is Mr. Blobby, as the original poster misspelled it, and I can definitely see the resemblance. Not only is this Mr. Blobby character already somewhat terrifying itself, especially considering it comes from an older show in the early 90s, and in my opinion, older media and just older retro vibes immediately make something far more unsettling and creepy, like the hanging munchkin in Wizard of Oz, for instance. This is not something I like too much. But the character in the Phantom Menace is very out of place. It's like everyone else here blends in very well and feels like classic Star Wars aliens, whereas this one is a massive, oversized figure with a terrifying expression that we seemingly never see again, and is just barely noticeable in the background, watching over Anakin, Qui-Gon, Padme, and everyone else. So far as an explanation goes for this mystery, a few theories arise. One is that this is a given, a species with a skull-like animated face that were incredibly skilled in mathematics and from the inner rim planet Yagdol and had pale white skin. It was polite to greet a given with a math equation. 2. It is one of the costumes from A New Hope, as they used Halloween costumes for much of the background aliens in the cantina during A New Hope. 3. It's the main character of the 1998 game Grim Fandango, called Manny Calavera, which also had a rectangular skeleton head, and that game was developed by LucasArts, which means this could in fact be an Easter egg. 4. Our last and most promising idea is that this is a Bith, and while there's no confirmation on this, the Bith theory certainly seems the most likely. Now you may be asking, how come the Bith from A New Hope look nothing like this guy? Well, the thing is, many of the aliens were redesigned moving into the Phantom Menace to make them more detailed and less cheap looking. The Bith were one of these, which, as you can see here, got much more detailing and ridges added to their faces, as well as more prominent mouths that weren't quite as smooth as before. Then again, some of the alien costumes used in the background of episode 1 were much more cheap and poorly made compared to the front and center ones for obvious reasons, so the best explanation we've got for this mysterious figure is that it is a low quality Bith that has a slightly different face than what we're used to, and has his face tilted up. So this hole that looks like a nose is actually his mouth, and the brown fold that appears to be a creepy smile is in fact the skin folds of a Bith. In other pictures we can get a better look at it with these guys, as there are actually even 2 of them in this one shot. Now the mystery still remains why they are so much bigger than everyone else around them, which to me makes them far more strange and scary, but they could simply have been scaled up to add more variety, therefore making them a subspecies of the Bith, similar to the Yabith also used for A New Hope. Watto death. So for this segment, we will be exploring the death of Watto at the hands of Darth Maul in canon versus legends, and what makes it so much more brutal than what we're used to seeing in the mythos. Well, in canon, in Darth Vader's journal, he wrote that he traveled to Tatooine and had an interview, quote-unquote, with an unnamed Toydarian and used special force techniques to torture him. He was angry, however, when the Toydarian died too quickly for him, so this definitely doesn't confirm anything, but it is, in theory, possible that Vader was in fact torturing not just any Toydarian here, but Watto himself. Also in the graphic novel Star Wars Visionaries, the story titled Old Wounds, in which an older Darth Maul returns to Tatooine to kill Ben Kenobi, this came out in 2005, and is considered non-canon in canon and in legends, so basically it's the equivalent of a YouTube what if, and Darth Maul would actually behead Watto, who was now older and had helped inform Maul where Kenobi now resided. So there's never an official death to Watto, but choose which version you prefer: Darth Vader torturing him to death with the Force, or Darth Maul beheading him in his search for Kenobi. Mark Hamill resurrected. This entry refers to the car accident Luke Skywalker actor Mark Hamill had in 1977 and how he grossly downplayed the severity of it, as well as the theory that he died there and was replaced from there on out by a body double who never looked quite similar to Mark Hamill and was always just off. So in a 1980 interview, Mark Hamill says that his car accident from January 1977 was heavily exaggerated and that he only swerved off the road and hit his nose to the wheel, which broke his nose, but lots of people think he is downplaying the severity of the accident here, as when you compare pictures of him from A New Hope to Return of the Jedi, you can see that he now has a completely different nose, which is now asymmetrical, and also his facial structure and eyes are different. If you cover up the left side of his face, he looks the same as he did before, just older and less weight. But then if you cover the right side of his face, he looks like Imposter Mark, because apparently having the border of one eye lower and wider than the other is considered a sign of trauma. People have also debated on the verifiability of whether or not the Wampa scene was written to explain this injury, but the point stands that Mark definitely wasn't replaced by the actor William Campbell after 1980. This theory says that Mark died in 1977 and that he has been forgotten entirely and that we've been worshipping this fraud ever since. It doesn't add up when you realize William Campbell passed away in 2011. Also, there is much darker lighting in The Empire Strikes Back to cover up the fraud here compared to A New Hope. His side profile is of an entirely different person, and the scars during the Wampa scene are from where they reconstructed the new actor's face to be closer to Mark. Star Weird. This one is not necessarily a creepypasta, but rather a rather disturbing part of Star Wars lore. Basically, the Star Weird was a species residing in space which would appear to space travelers when stopping for various reasons on their journey and would let out a telepathic scream before then hunting down their prey. The scream was said to terrify their victims. They were unnaturally tall and gaunt and had white hair as well as bright eyes. Rather than walking, the Star Weird would hover at a speed faster than humans were able to move around at, which is pretty terrifying. In Legends, the leader of the Star Weird race was the Star Weird Queen. Cursed Darth Maul Forest. back in my Mandela Effect video, which you should definitely check out if you haven't, we went over someone who had a memory of Darth Maul in a forest from The Phantom Menace. That didn't exist, but we're going back to explore that and the bad version of episode 1 you don't want to end up with in your DVD player. And by the way, when I mention another video, no, I'm not just trying to get more money from you, but I also just genuinely want to show you more entertaining videos that might make your day better. Basically, this one is about a guy who recalls seeing Darth Maul in a foggy forest, and that it gave him nightmares for months as he was scared of Darth Maul. Turns out this was actually in the one Darth Plagueis book, so they might have remembered it from that. But there is always the possibility of a cursed Phantom Menace out there that might show you more graphic things than you signed up to see and leave you scarred. But anyway, that's it for this video. You can subscribe if you want to. Consider checking out the live streams we do every Friday night. Also consider checking out the merch store for some really cool summer merch. Also, let me know down in the comments if you have any questions about this video or any video requests for future videos for me to cover, or any topics or anything like that. And also just let me know how your week is going. I upload normal videos every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, shorts every single day. But yeah. See ya.